Orcas. Often known as killer whales, they stalk the oceans of the world, living up to their infamous name. They hunt in groups and use language to communicate. With their high intelligence, they leave a trail of terror in their wake. Now, it's they and not their prey who are threatened. Wildlife cameraman David Raychard is determined to get intimately close to this mighty predator in its natural environment, to understand firsthand the relationship between the orca and its prey. In the southern Indian Ocean, midway between the coast of South Africa and the Antarctic, lie the Crozet Islands. This French archipelago sits smack in the middle of the roaring 40s, westerly winds that pack a real punch. Here, it rains 310 days a year. Winds in excess of 60 miles an hour for much of the year make human life unbearable. The wind brings rain, snow, and hail. On the Crozet Islands, you can experience all 4 seasons in less than a day. September marks the beginning of spring in the southern hemisphere, but there's never a good time to venture into this region. Some people do. This long-line fishing boat is after a catch that can only be found in these waters, Patagonian toothfish. They were only discovered at the turn of the last century. Today, they fetch high prices on dinner tables in Asia and America, where they're more commonly known as Chilean sea bass. Other hunters prize the toothfish, like the giant of the dolphin family, the orca. David Raychard is passionate about orcas and intrigued by their behavior.
Like all the fish around here, the toothfish swim too deep for whales and dolphins. But the amazing thing is the orcas are such opportunists that they've adapted to the presence of long-line boats in the area. They've discovered an easy way to feed. They only have to wait for the lines to be pulled up. Unfortunately, a lot of pirate longliners are out there. They're illegal and try to force the orcas to keep their distance by throwing dynamite at them. So the orcas have become rather cautious towards human beings, even though they haven't given up on the easy pickings. Scientists have produced alarming figures. 50% of the orcas in the region have disappeared in the last decade. It's a wanton and secret slaughter by men without scruples.
David boarded one of the few legal longliners to get to the islands and study the behavior of this threatened mammal in its natural environment. As a specialist in filming marine mammals, David stops at nothing to get close to his subjects. But what he's about to do has never been attempted before. Filming underwater, close to boats that present a threat to the orcas. How nervous will they be of his presence if private fishermen have struck in the past? A young female approaches, naturally inquisitive. Her mother instantly recalls her. In orca society, the young don't need to be told twice. The orcas are certainly avoiding David. He'll have to wait until he gets to the Crozet Islands for another encounter. That's where the orcas are heading, because their traditional prey in the area are not toothfish, but elephant seals. Every spring, elephant seals must return to dry land to mate and give birth after hunting at sea in the Antarctic. Over thousands of years, orcas have perfected peculiar techniques to catch seals.
I wonder how far the presence of the long-line boats has altered the orca's culture from generation to generation. Has it changed their feeding habits? What impact has the slaughter really had? Has the elephant seal population grown as the number of orcas declined?
To find out, David will spend 4 hard months alongside these animals in conditions where life is a daily struggle for survival.
Here, animals are safe from man. They shouldn't be afraid of people. It's the perfect place to study their world and understand the close links that unite predator and prey. I've arrived just in time. The elephant seals have begun to return.
This 15-foot male seal has spent 10 months at sea gorging on fish and squid in the Antarctic. He swum thousands of miles to get here, and now, hauling 4 tons of blubber onto dry land, only one thing is on his mind: sex. Enter a female, but she's not here to mate, rather to give birth to a pup she conceived on the island last year. For the male, she's an irresistible image of Aphrodite.
To reproduce, males must establish a harem and become the dominant male. The only way to do that, throw your weight around and impose yourself on other males. The male is 6 or 7 times heavier than the female, and to show he means business, he bites her viciously. How affectionate. The dominant male must keep his trophies away from prying rivals. This potential rival is already calculating the odds. The role of dominant male is highly coveted, and on this beach, there's only room for one. Conflict is inevitable. Another female arrives. Distracted by the advances of 2 males, she doesn't see the danger until too late. Her long journey is over. She'll never give birth to her pup. Hunting this way shows how the orcas have adapted to life around these islands. Fish are rare and inaccessible, so they must hunt marine mammals. The rest of the family has been alerted to the catch. Allowing the others to join the kill is a form of initiation, especially for the young. To survive, you must learn, and the transmission of knowledge is an essential part of orca culture. This might seem cruel, but it shows the extent to which orcas are social animals and how far they go to protect each other. The fatal blow is delivered by a young female.
Skuas and other scavenging birds pluck raw protein straight from the sea.